Has he done it?
John Higgins just proved that age is just a number. After 4 years without a ranking title, the 49-year-old legend roared back to victory with a dominant win over Joe O'Connor in the Ryder Cup World Open final. For a player who once questioned whether he'd ever lift another trophy, this win was more than a statement. Higgins has had his fair share of heartbreak in recent years, with several gut-wrenching losses in crucial matches. Perhaps the most painful defeat of all came in the 2022 Tour Championship final, when he suffered a heartbreaking loss to Neil Robertson after leading 9-4. It was a brutal reminder of how cruel the sport could be. For many, that moment felt like the final nail in the coffin of his prime, a signal that his days of winning big titles were over. But champions don't just disappear quietly. Instead of dwelling on what could have been, Higgins kept pushing forward. He knew his game was still there, but it was his mindset that needed work. Determined to overcome the mental blocks that had cost him in key moments, he experimented with different cues, adjusted his approach, and refused to let frustration win. And this time, all that effort finally paid off. His victory in China was a major milestone. Along with pocketing a cool 175 grand, the win shot him up the 8th in the Johnstone's Paint World rankings and secured him 3rd place on the 1-year list, putting him firmly back among snooker's elite. But more importantly, it proved that he's still a force to be reckoned with. Now holding 32 ranking titles, Higgins sits just behind snooker giants Ronnie O'Sullivan and Stephen Hendry, further cementing his legacy as one of the sport's greatest players. And as if that wasn't enough, he also tied O'Sullivan's record for most ranking event quarterfinals after edging Zhu Yalong 5-4 earlier in the tournament. With his 50th birthday approaching, Higgins just became the second oldest player in history to win a ranking event. Only Ray Reardon was older when he won in 1982. And if that wasn't impressive enough, he also set a new record for the longest gap between his first and most recent ranking titles. It's been over 30 years since he first lifted the 1994 Grand Prix trophy, proving that experience and resilience still matter in this game. For years, his fellow class of '92 rivals, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Mark Williams, have continued to steal the spotlight. Meanwhile, Higgins battled his own demons, often struggling to keep his nerves in check during big moments. He's been open about his mental struggles, calling it mental fragility, but rather than letting it define him, he worked tirelessly to overcome it. Constantly experimenting with different cues and refining his approach, he never lost the hunger to compete. This week, it all came together. Higgins sent a message that the fire in him is still there, and he's not done yet. Could this be the start of another Higgins resurgence? With the way he played in China, you wouldn't bet against him. He got his hands on the trophy by defeating Joe O'Connor 10-6 in the World Open final in China. He edged out the first frame on the black before shifting into high gear, winning 5 of the next 6 to storm into a commanding 6-1 lead. Joe O'Connor, however, wasn't going down without a fight. The Leicester player took the last frame of the afternoon session, which leads to 6-2 after the first session. He wasted no time in extending that lead, firing in a solid break of 68 to take the first frame of the evening. O'Connor tried to fight back, with impressive runs of 71 and 70, closing the gap to 7-4, but Higgins wasn't having any of it. He responded in style with breaks of 57 and 94, stretching his lead to 9-4 and putting himself just 1 frame away from victory. But snooker is never that simple. In the 14th frame, Higgins had a chance to seal the deal, even after being 45-1 behind. He made 24 before missing a risky plant to the middle pocket, allowing O'Connor to steal the frame. Then, in the next frame, Higgins built a 43-8 lead, but O'Connor once again dug deep. He won a safety battle and pulled off an incredible 67 clearance, including a tricky double on the final green. Suddenly, it was 9-6, and you could feel the tension creeping in.
One more.
Slightly lost the cue ball. Yeah, that's in.
Nicely done. Nicely recovered.
It's a fabulous shot.
What a moment for John Higgins. A player we were so used to seeing winning titles. He lost 5 finals in a row.
He's going to be fine as a player. I mean, what a match player he is. Joe O'Connor.
77.
Well, he's keeping it in for now. If ever the old maxim, form is temporary, class is permanent, he is an all-time great.
80.
And obviously was a long way behind. He made that great break in the last frame. But John Higgins, look at the way he's winning. Going to be a century, it would seem.
100.
Yeah, what a terrific way to win. And he came to the table with the balls in.
Ranking title number 31 on a 32nd ranking event trophy. He's the second oldest winner in history of a ranking tournament. As he approaches 50, this will be surely one of the most satisfying triumphs.
For a moment, Higgins might have feared another heartbreaking collapse, but not this time. He shook off the nerves and delivered the perfect response, a stunning break of 100 to seal the match in style. That was his 5th century of the tournament, and there couldn't have been a better way to wrap things up. Higgins couldn't hide his emotions after the match, clearly overwhelmed by the significance of his victory. The past few days have been a roller coaster of nervous energy. It's the kind of exhaustion that comes from riding the emotional highs and lows of competition, where every shot feels like a life or death decision. But in the end, the hard work pays off, and winning a major event at this stage in his career, well, that's a moment worth celebrating. For O'Connor, it was a disappointing end to an otherwise brilliant run. He had taken down big names like Judd Trump, Shaun Murphy and Ali Carter to reach the final, but he just couldn't bring his best game on the day. Still, the 75 grand runner-up prize is a career-best payday, and he moves up 8 spots to world number 31. But for Higgins, this victory has also secured him a spot in the Players' Championship and Tour Championship, setting him up perfectly for the upcoming World Championships at the Crucible. Higgins could already picture the emotional reunion waiting for him at home. After years of near misses and frustrating losses, this victory belonged to his family too. They had seen him at his lowest, felt the disappointment alongside him, and supported him through every setback. Now he finally had something to celebrate with them. The long years of heartbreak and near misses had been tough, but this moment made it all worth it. At an age when most players are slowing down, Higgins is proving that he's still got what it takes. And now he's found his winning touch again. Who's to say this will be his last title? And that's a wrap for today's video. With this win, Higgins has sent a clear message that he's still a threat, still a legend, and still hungry for more. But what do you think? Do you see Higgins winning another major title soon, or is this one of his last big victories? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you love snooker content, don't forget to like and subscribe for more snooker updates.